Hello dear students, welcome back all of you to the physics online class. We started the concept of the nuclear density and the nuclear size in the last class, and there we came to know the point how it is related with the atomic mass number, and later we discussed about the nuclear force. What is that? Nuclear force is the strongest attractive force which is holding the nucleons inside the nucleus, okay, and a few of the properties of the nuclear force also we discussed. That is, the nuclear force is a saturated force and it is a short range force. It is the strongest force in the nature, and next about it is a charge independent, and this is a spin dependent force, and this does not obey the inverse square law. Like that, few of the important properties of the nuclear force we have discussed. Then moved to the point, the Einstein mass energy relation, okay, and related to that only today we are continuing the further point about the nucleus stability. That means how the nucleus is going to be stable. See, in the periodic table we are calling few of the atoms are stable in the nature and few are unstable. Then how could you explain about the stability of the atoms? There we came to know that whenever in the case of if the atom satisfies the octet structure in the chemistry, there we can call they are the stable. But here we are talking about the nucleus. The nucleus is going to be stable. It depends on the two forces which are present between the nucleons. Okay. Therefore, the stability, that is the nuclear stability, can be explained with the help of the two forces. Yes. So, what are those forces? Nuclear stability, that is explained with the two forces. One is strong nuclear force of attraction, between the nucleons, that is a proton neutron, proton proton, like that. But here there is another force, that is electrostatic repulsion between protons. See, why we are specifying here the protons only? Because we know that protons have the positive charge, and positive the same, that is like charges, when they come each other there is a strong force of the repulsion, that is electrostatic repulsion will takes place, and these two forces are responsible for the explanation of the stability of the nucleus. Then let us talk first about the strong nuclear force, how it can contribute its concept to explain the nuclear density here. Yes, see, in the case of, if you see the nucleus of any atom, right, and here let us take, here one proton is there, here one neutron, and neighboring another neutron is there. If you compare the distance between this neutron and this neutron, this is far from this proton, okay. Then the neutrons which are neighboring, which are near to the proton, there the nuclear force is having strong attractive, yes, compared to the far nucleons. Therefore, in the lighter nuclei, remember dear students, in the lighter nuclei, which force is playing a vital role? The strong nuclear force is greater than, the electrostatic force of the repulsion between the protons. So, in the lighter nuclei, the strong nuclear force is greater than the electrostatic repulsion. Yes, therefore we consider the lighter nuclei are stable. For example, helium I can take here. Helium is a nucleus which is stable, and some of the inert gases also, neon, xenon, argon, like that examples. If I consider, they all are considered to be the the lighter nuclei which are stable in the nucleus, that are stable in the nature we can consider. Then if the atomic number is more than 170, let us take the atomic mass number is greater than 170, there the nuclei are called unstable nuclei. For example, uranium is considered to be unstable. Why? What happens actually here? In the case of the heavier nuclei, what we call, these are called heavier nuclei. Heavier nuclei, where the electrostatic repulsion is greater than the strong nuclear force. Are you finding the difference between these two? In the lighter nuclei, the strong attractive, that means a strong nuclear force is greater than the electrostatic repulsion. Therefore, they are considered to be the stable nuclei. They are stable in the nature. But in the case of the heavier nuclei, we are considering that electrostatic repulsion is stronger than the strong nuclear force. Therefore, how the repulsion will takes place, that heavier nuclei try to split that and convert that into the lighter nuclei. Therefore, these are taken to be, the heavier nuclei are taken to be the unstable nuclei. They are unstable. And one more point to remember here, if the ratio of neutron number to the proton number is equal to 1, if the ratio of the number of neutron to the number of the proton is equal to 1, such a nuclei are called as the stable nuclei. Remember this point. Such a nuclei are called stable nuclei. Therefore, so the lighter nuclei are called stable because in that the number of the neutrons will be is equal to the number of the protons, hence their ratio if I take, it comes 1 only. Is that clear? So, this only about the nuclear stability. Okay. Then moving forward with the next concept, that is a nuclear energy. Nuclear energy. As we know already, according to the Einstein's mass energy relation, whatever the amount of the energy is dissipated during the nuclear process, that is again existing in the form of the energy here. Yes, and when you come with the nuclear binding energy per nucleon, that is called specific binding energy. Yes, and in that you will come to know that the nuclei which are having a mass less than 30 and a nuclear atomic mass that is greater than 170, these two are considered to be almost unstable only. Yes, because in that what happened, the variation, the binding energy value is decreasing per nucleon. Yes, then for the, if I take the nuclei which are having atomic mass that is greater than 30 and less than 170, for such a nuclei we are finding the specific binding energy is more in that curve. Then if the specific binding energy value is more or binding energy per nucleon is more, then such a nuclei are considered to be stable in the nature. Okay. So, then that will explain about the nuclear energy. Then see, during the process of the nucleus, what happens, we are trying to convert the low binding energy element into the higher binding energy. And when such a transmutation will takes place, during that the energy is dissipated. That energy will exist in the form of the mass there. Therefore, what amount of energy is released during the process, that is called as nuclear energy. That is called nuclear energy. Then the amount of the during the transmutation of the low binding energy nuclei into the higher or the greater nuclear binding energy. So, during that what happens, the mass difference will takes place, that only liberates the amount of the energy, that is called nuclear energy here. So, that nuclear energy we can represent with the help of Q is equal to delta M into C square. This is in terms of the joule here, right, and where Q is called nuclear energy, and as you know, delta M is called mass defect, and C is the speed of the light in the vacuum we consider, right. Okay. Then see, which process can release the nuclear energy. Actually, when we talk about the nuclear energy, there are two process in the considering the nuclei that will release the most of the energy during their reaction. Then what those process? There are two process. One is the nuclear fission reaction, and another one is a nuclear fusion reaction. Let us talk first about the nuclear fission. Fission means splitting, dividing. Yes, fission means what happens here? Nuclear fission, the process of splitting up of a heavy nucleus into its constituent light nuclei with the release of more amount of energy. In the case of nuclear fission reaction, so this reaction is the process in which a heavy nucleus will be splitted up into the two lighter nuclei with the release of more amount of the energy, or with the release of lot of amount of the energy. Then this nuclear fission can be explained by taking one example here. Nuclear fission means splitting. Yes, let us take the example uranium 235. Yes, uranium 235 nucleus we consider. When this uranium 235 nucleus is bombarded, it is collided with the thermal neutron, then it becomes unstable nucleus. Then after few of the minutes or the seconds, it transmitted into and splitted into two lighter nuclei with the release of the neutrons as well as the high amount of the energy here. Yes, and the conversion of that heavy nucleus into the lighter nucleus can be given by equations. We can write the equation here. Let us take uranium 90 to 235, the reaction for the nuclear fission I can write here, and this uranium nucleus is bombarded with the thermal neutron. This is called thermal neutron. During this, what happens when it bombards, there is a formation of unstable uranium nucleus. 236 92. Here I am mentioning the star mark. That star mark will indicate that this nucleus is unstable. And remember, dear student, if the nucleus is unstable, it will try to emit the radiation. It will try to convert into the lighter nuclei. Therefore, after that some of the time, that will convert, that will transmutate or split it up into the two lighter nuclei. Here one is a barium that is 56 and 144 here, and another one is a krypton 3689 with the release of 3 fast neutrons. Remember, see here what neutron we used is called thermal neutron. This is a thermal neutron, but after the reaction what neutrons are released here, these are called fast neutrons. They can undergo the control chain reaction that will continue in the nuclear reactor, okay, and along with this nearly 200 mega electron volt of the energy is liberated. Yes, so this is why we focus on the nuclear fission reaction. Yes, and see here the material which is involved here in the process, that is called fissile material. What it is called? Fissile material. That means that undergoes fission process, and after this fission process what the lighter nuclei are formed, they are called as the fission fragments. What they are called? These two are called as the fission fragments. Am I clear, dear students? Okay, and see, first we should know what is the nuclear fission reaction, and in the fission what happens? The heavy nucleus is splitted up into the two lighter nuclei with the release of the enormous amount of the energy here, right, and that can be given with the help of the equation, that is a reaction when a uranium-235 that is bombarded with a thermal neutron that become unstable and splitted up into the barium and the krypton with the release of 3 fast neutrons and the release of the energy here. But one more thing you have to notice here, these fission fragments are not constant. That means all the time only barium krypton are not going to form. Sometimes they may change also. So one more example I can take for the nuclear fission, where the fission fragments are different. Yes, that one more example I can write, uranium, the same uranium-235, when it is bombarded with the thermal neutron, then it undergoes and splitted up into the xenon 54-140 plus strontium 38-94 plus with the release of 2 thermal neutrons, and the energy is liberated here. Okay, that is why I have given, I wanted to explain you that the fission fragments are not going to be constant, they may change here. Okay, I hope the nuclear fission is understood by you. Okay, so then in the case of the nuclear fission, where it is involved means the nuclear working of the nuclear reactor involves the nuclear fission reaction. Inside that nuclear reactor what happens? The controlled sustainable chain reaction is going to happen, and in our Karnataka means Kaiga, where the nuclear power station is situated. Okay, so I hope the nuclear fission concept is clear. Then moving to the another reaction, that is a nuclear fusion reaction. Fission means splitting, fusion means adding, and in the case of fusion reaction, 2 lighter nuclei will be combined together to form a heavy nucleus with the release of the lot of energy or enormous amount of the energy. In the case of fusion what happens? The process of combining 2 lighter nuclei into the heavy nucleus to form heavy nucleus with the release of enormous amount of the energy. then such a process is called nuclear fusion reaction. Then see dear students, every day we are getting the sun radiations. That radiation and the heat that produced by sun is because of nuclear fusion reaction only. Actually in the core of the sun what happens? The deuterium means that is the isotope of the hydrogen, that when combined together two lighter nuclei of the deuterium, that is 1H2 plus 1H2, when they are combined together, that forms the helium nucleus with the release of enormous amount of the energy. Yes, and that is called as the nuclear fusion reaction. But when you are thinking of the practical formation of the nuclear fission, it is very difficult, because such a nuclear fusion reactions are taking place in the presence of 10 raised to 7 Kelvin of the temperature. See, here lot of the temperature is required. Why the lot of temperature is required? When you want to combine the two lighter nuclei here, there is a strong electrostatic repulsion between them. If you want to overcome with that strong repulsive force, the nucleons should collide with the large velocity, and if that nuclei should collide with the large velocity, large temperature is required. Therefore, in a laboratory the nuclear fusion reaction is so not that much easier. Yes, and if the nuclear fusion reactions are taking with the place in the place of with a temperature of 10 to the power 9 Kelvin, such a nuclear fusion reaction are called thermonuclear fusion reactions or thermonuclear reactions. Am I clear? And see, the nuclear fusion reaction is its principle is involved in the case of working of the hydrogen bomb. See, at present hydrogen bomb is the most dangerous, and this is working based on what principle? Nuclear fusion reaction only. Yes, and let us talk a few of the differences between the nuclear fission and fusion. And before that, we should also have an idea about the chemical energy versus the chemical energy versus the nuclear energy. Yes, why we need to talk about this? Because chemical energy means our conventional sources of energy. What are those? Coal, petroleum, natural gas. They can also give us the lot of the energy by using that, but the energy released during their use, that is hardly of the order of 10 raised to 7 joules per kg. So, in the case of chemical energy, what happening? So, when we burn them, the energy that is obtained is only of the order of 10 raised to 7 joules per kg. But if you go for the nuclear energy, when we do the nuclear fission or the fusion reaction, the order of the energy released is more. It is approximately of the order 10 raised to 14 joules of the energy is released per kg. That means if you burn 1 kg of the nuclear fissile material, this much amount of the energy is liberated. And same thing here also, if you use 1 kg of coal or the petroleum or the natural gas, then during that 10 raised to 7 joule of the energy will be liberated. Am I clear? So, this is what the difference between the chemical and the nuclear energy. But the main difference we need to get in the case of nuclear fission and the fusion. Fission and nuclear fusion. Okay, first as I told earlier also, whenever you are going with the definitions, both the definition we need to write. So, fission means conversion of the heavy nucleus into the smaller or the lighter nuclei, and fusion means combining the lighter nuclei into the in the form of the heavy nucleus. And the next one, in the case of nuclear fission, less amount of the energy is released per nucleon. Per nucleon, less amount of the energy is released. Amount of energy is liberated or released per nucleon. Here we are considering per nucleon. But in the case of the fusion, more amount of the energy is released. Yes, so per nucleon, that is per nucleon. And here nuclear fission can takes place with a normal temperature, but in the case of nuclear fusion, large amount of the temperature is required for that process. Okay. And next thing I can give here, the working principle, where the nuclear fission is used, the working principle, the principle of the working of nuclear fission is involved in the nuclear reactors. Nuclear reactors, and also in the case of the atom bombs. Atom bomb also, there also what? The nuclear fission concept will be used. But in the case of the hydrogen bomb, working of the hydrogen bomb is based on the principle of the nuclear fusion reaction. Yes, and these are the few of the differences between the fission and the fusion reaction. Okay. So, I hope dear students, up to now whatever the points we discussed, all are clear. This completes the chapter nuclei. Actually what I told in the earlier, so this chapter was also consisting the concept of radioactivity, but that part is deleted from your present syllabus. Okay. I hope the points are clear. Thank you for watching my videos.